Welcome to the True Sky Crew podcast, where we share our cosmic pearls of wisdom. Why True Sky Astrology? Because when we align with the true sky, we align with our true self. We are your hosts, Sachi and Janine, and we got the crew here too. Thank you all for joining us on the replay. That is the only option this time. We did have some technical difficulties here in the middle of nowhere with Serpent Mound. The place we're staying at is very protective, that is for sure, and it does not have Wi-Fi. So we are using a hotspot, and it said no to streaming live. So that's that.
We're picking up what it's putting down
exactly. So we appreciate you guys tuning in on the replay. Today we'll be discussing solstice energy. So this is our second special topic episode 23. And yeah, we'll be talking all things solstice, and we are here together at Serpent Mound. So Janine and I have met in person for the first time. It has been amazing so far. And it's just the beginning.
Dreams were fire last night.
That is true. That is true. There's definitely a lot of intense energy work going on in this grid area, and it's very clear why we're meant to be here. Yeah. But wow, was it intense.
Yeah, and that it was very intentional to come here and to do it privately with we were doing all kinds of protective things last night and cleansing, and then when I laid down to go to bed, I was like, I felt energy moving for like a good hour and a half, and I was like, whoa, this is intense.
Yeah. I was clearing energy for like 24 hours before our trek here, and literally just like sleeping, falling asleep to a mantra, waking up, and most of it being cleared, and just having to go to sleep with a different mantra and keep clearing different energy from my body, which usually like the way that I interact with the holographic universe, it usually doesn't run through my body. So when it does, it's really intense, and I'm like, ugh. But I'm feeling much better now, and it's only going in the right direction.
Yahoo!
Yeah.
So yeah, we actually haven't been out to Serpent Mound yet. We were advised to just hang low, like hang here for the day, just relax, rest, and sleep. After we woke up from dreams, we kind of understood that a little bit more. So we're kind of just getting tuned in with the land, and we'll probably go later in the week and check the place out. So it's nice to be able to have that flexibility while we're here.
Definitely.
Not have an agenda.
Exactly. And we've been doing card readings and tapping into the grid, and that's a really great thing about being spiritually aware and having these types of tools, because the messages come through loud and clear, and it's like, okay, there's no need to argue with the messages coming through, even though we did have something else planned. So, but we're happy to be in our little cabin. It's really amazing. It's so cute. The theme is theme is very coherent.
There's bears everywhere.
Bears everywhere.
Hilarious with the Polarian alignment. I was like, the bears are with us.
Yeah. So where we are is literally aligning with the Polaris alignment. So it's really a beautiful, beautiful place. And happy to spend the time in the cabin.
Yeah.
And we have our private chef here cooking us some delicious food.
Yes,
here.
chef. Thank you, chef.
Thank you, chef.
You're welcome.
And yeah, so we can hop into it. Just a little reminder for the 2024 daily planner. We have June and July and all previous months available at sachitheseer.com. If you go to True Sky Astrology Tools, you will see it there. And August is on its way, so that will be there pretty soon. So make sure you get your tools, and we will keep you updated as we go. And yeah, this week, these next couple days, big.
We're in a power window.
Yeah, we are.
We're in a power window right now till the full moon on the 21st, which is tomorrow at time of recording.
Technically today.
Today is
Yeah.
the time of recording. Yeah, it is just after midnight now. So yeah, do we want to talk a little bit, like just touch briefly on the Polaris alignment? We can maybe look at the sky app
Sure.
and show y'all where Polaris is and talk about why it matters, because we do have some Orion things to touch on with that. There's some interesting alignments with Betelgeuse in Orion and Polaris, our pole star. Okay.
So Polaris
is way north of the ecliptic. It's our pole star, so it's what we spin around basically in Ursa Minor. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. So
we got all the bears around us right now.
Yeah, we really do. It was hilarious when we got here. Bears on the porch, bears on the walls.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at them all.
Bears on the cabinetry,
the little door handles,
the hardware
yeah.
of the cabinetry.
It's cute.
It's really cute.
So if we scroll down and look at where the sun is on the ecliptic, it's so far off the ecliptic, you can't really see it all in one frame. You have to scroll up and down. Oh, okay.
That's why I was like, wait, what day? Okay, I guess
the 20th. At 4:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or wait, this is Polaris. That's the solstice.
Okay, yeah.
Polaris alignment is on the 19th.
Yeah, I thought we passed it. Okay.
Blah, blah, blah.
All right, 19th. Is that 4:51?
No, it's, I don't know what time it actually is. Fine, just leave it where it is and we'll look at it. Because what you will notice when you scroll down and look at the sun. So that's the day it was aligned with Polaris. And is it two? Yes. Where's Orion? Where are you at, Orion?
Orion.
There he is. I'm looking at it the wrong way. You'll notice when you zoom into his club, it's the day that Orion becomes Prometheus, because he literally, as the sun transits across that, his club becomes a torch. So I think that's really kind of why that constellation is coded like that. It was an easy way to know when the sun was in that alignment. It's like, oh, look, today it's the club is a torch. It's the pole star alignment. So that's a fascinating thing. And I think it really shifts the mythology of Orion a lot when you kind of understand any planet that transits through that area. It's like it's going to make that same symbolic gesture. So it's just fascinating alignment.
Which the recode, so Orion was known as like the greatest of hunters, and he loved hunting so much that he vowed to kill everything on Earth. And the gods and goddesses at the time decided that he needed to go. So I think it may have been Athena. I think it was a goddess actually that decided to cause Orion to perish and put him in the sky to honor him because he was a great hunter, but clearly someone like that could not exist on Earth. And then switching it to the Promethean.
Yeah, and that makes the movie Prometheus make a lot of sense too, because you see some of those beings and they are modeled after what some Orion digress lineages resemble. And all the dots start connecting. You're like, oh wow. So
and what's the mythological history of Prometheus?
Prometheus, the god or demigod that brought fire to man. So, when the sun makes this alignment, you're like, oh.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah. Bringing that creative fire. Yeah, right. And, I think a higher octave of the hunter, in air quotes, is the seeker. Instead, it transforms into this understanding of knowledge and wisdom and higher concepts. Especially when you get an alignment, right? But there could be more mythology than that to it. There could be some Orion Wars references because there are certain reasons why our axis is at 23.5 degrees. And I don't feel like it was always at 23.5 degrees. I think that's part of some of the mythology of the Great Flood and certain things, and the Earth kind of got knocked into a different axis alignment. So there's a lot going on there, but it's definitely a very short, a small, intense area of the sky. It's where the sun is transiting through the Taurus Gemini void. I don't know. Do you consider Orion like a legit? I don't consider it a constellation. It would be like how Cetus is in a void space, but I don't consider it as a constellation per se.
Yeah, the sun doesn't go through it.
No.
So I wouldn't call it Orion season 2, necessarily. Then you'd have to call every void space and even non-void space,
Yeah.
the season of the constellation that it aligns with. So no, I don't, but I have had clients that are Orion rising, what I would describe as an Orion rising. So in that way, kind of in the same way that I would consider people having a Cetus moon, because the moon is in Cetus, but I wouldn't consider it a zodiac because it doesn't fit the definition.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like some of the most clear Orion energy will come through this area of the sky, though, because transits through the belt stars. There's a lot of stuff to detangle and like galactic lineages to deal with that need some help and some work, clearing cords from Orion kind of things. And I feel like this is some of the clearer energy, because this is like the Polarian alignment is the inroad to the Earth grids. It's Polaris, and then Polaris Australis on the other side is our other southern pole star. So this is like the highway through the Earth grids, basically, right through the center. So it's kind of a big deal. And I feel like this energy, the insinuation, like you have to look at the sky to understand. Oh my. You have to look at the sky to understand the insinuation of what the form is making. Kind of the same way when you look at Aries and Cetus and you realize they're in this eye lock, and you're like, oh, it's a consciousness bridge. This is kind of like this insinuated activation in that way. So it's a very powerful day when the sun transits through here. It's like you're sending cosmic soul level juju straight through the Earth grids, it can be intense for some folks.
Definitely. And even in the True Sky Crew group chat, a lot of us have been sharing many common themes in our astral space.
Yeah.
A lot of common themes, a lot of hunters. It really doesn't get much more plain and simple, that when you understand what's going on with the alignments and you connect it to your astral space, it's like, wow, we really are connected to the heavens in such a miraculous way.
Yeah. Totally. So I'm just cruising through our Instagram group chat to see if there was any solstice or sorry. Polaris alignment questions. I don't see any at the moment, but it's early. So anything else you want to say about Polaris? Let me pull the chart really quick. I didn't send you a Polaris chart.
I guess in terms of our pole star, Polaris has not always been our pole star, correct?
That's true. It wobbles with precession. So that's the interesting thing, is that the opposite end of precession, I think Thuban is our pole star.
Oh, wow.
Right.
And Thuban is a Draco.
Yeah.
Over here. Very interesting.
Yeah. So now you know why there's so much hijack through Thuban. The audio on this is very thin, very gong-like.
So how long has Polaris been our pole star? Since the last 1 degree shift?
I don't know.
Let's see. 26,000 years?
It's probably half that.
Okay,
Probably
23,000.
like 13,000, because I think it just keeps rotating through.
Let's see here.
Sorry, guys, we're looking stuff up and the Wi-Fi is very, very slow.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Earth's rotation axis happens to be pointing almost exactly at Polaris, but in the year 3000 BC, the North Star was Thuban. And in about 13,000 years from now, the precession of the rotation axis will mean the bright star Vega will be our North Star. Well, there you go.
Okay, so 13,000 years. That's what I'm seeing
It
here on the
says,
side.
yeah, it says in 13,000 years, Vega will be our pole star, which is, I would have to look at a bigger map and look at moving software.
That's interesting. We've been talking a lot about Lyra.
Yeah, Lyra did come up.
That's a big shift in 13,000 years.
I know. I was like, are they
compared to
talking about
Thuban.
the southern pole star? No, it definitely says Vega will be the North Star.
Wow.
Well, that feels like a post down the road. We're going to have
Mhm.
to do some research on that. In 20,000, this is way in the future, 20,346 CE, Thuban will reclaim its title as Earth's North Star. In the southern hemisphere, the Southern Cross is used by people looking due south. Interesting. And here's another one that does talk about Vega. So that, but you know, those are two very significant stars in astrology. So there's more to the story there.
Mm-hmm.
But for right now, it's Polaris. And that's in Ursa Minor, the little bear.
Mm-hmm.
So the big bear is easy to find. The Big Dipper is easy to find. And then you just look off the cup of the Big Dipper and it will point to the Little Dipper.
Which is interesting that Ursa Minor's closer to Draco than its own mom.
It really is. Yeah. It really is. Fascinating things.
All right. So
see, you want to pull up our daily planner page for the 19th and see what other significant things were going on just out of interest.
Yeah. Let's see.
June planner is at
Amazing.
the website.
Yes.
So she's a seer.
19th. Let's see here. Okay. Here we go. Handy dandy page and in our planner.
Look at that. Venus moved into Gemini in the true sky. Moon was conjunct asteroid Lilith. Polaris and Betelgeuse, always in the same alignment. And then moon alignments, going through Centaurus constellation alignments. Interesting. So note, under the ephemeris, the sun is truly in the Taurus Gemini void between constellations for this. And that's going to be significant when we shift gears into talking about the solstice, because we have some fun things to talk about with that. So this is super handy to keep up with everything, you guys. If you haven't checked it out, go get June or July, because you can buy them by the month at Sashi's website.
Yep. They're super handy dandy. to know what's going on, especially with like dream stuff. So we have these Centaurus alignments, and literally in my dreams, someone was like, "Ooh, a centaur." So yeah, it's wild the level of detail and info that you can get from here.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it. We made it because we wanted to use it, so we hope that you enjoy it too.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about, you're ready to move on to solstice?
Yeah.
Today technically was or yesterday, it's technically Friday today now. The 20th of June at 4:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time was the June solstice. Now I'm not
Pull
gonna
the chart?
say, yeah, pull
Okay.
the chart. We're not going to say the summer solstice because it depends on what hemisphere you're in. It is technically the June solstice or the northern solstice. Those are the correct terms for this. If you're in the northern hemisphere, sure, you can call it summer solstice. If you're in the southern hemisphere, winter solstice, but the correct term would be the northern solstice. And we have some graphics that will help explain that too. So maybe we should look at the graphics first so people can understand from
You want this one
a
first?
planet perspective. Well, this is like a whole year of photos, what's on the screen right now. So the solstices are at the top and the bottom. So you can see how the sun changes position on the horizon
You want me to pull
through the
put it up?
year. You can just
Or
see, yeah, it's like
you want
the
me to share
sun
it?
will move. Oh, is it not sharing?
No.
Okay.
Do you want me to share it though, or later?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So this is just a photo of solstices and equinoxes. It's like a whole year. And once a month, somebody took a photo, which I thought was really cool. So the top one is solstice, bottom one is solstice, and the one in the middle is equinox. Or maybe, I can't see. July. Yeah, equinox.
This is July. June solstice.
There's a
The
solstice.
September equinox is here.
And then what's the bottom one
And then
say?
this is March equinox.
Solstice?
That's December solstice.
And that's December
Yeah.
solstice. So it goes from December solstice to December solstice. So you can see, like, I wish they would have put where east was on here because the sun does move throughout the year. It only rises due east on the equinoxes. The rest of the year, it's toggling back and forth between one side of east and the other side of east, I guess. Anyway, I just thought that was cool.
It is cool,
Like
yeah.
time lapse photo. I was like, that's a cool way to understand
Beautiful.
how the sun moves in a year.
Okay. Okay, so this one?
Yeah, any one of those. Fine, that's a good one to start with. Okay. So this is some of the stuff we want to talk about was the quote unquote Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn.
I can pull them both up.
Okay, that'd be
Yeah.
great too. Because we did a little homework on that. Is the little text bit.
This one?
I can just read it. No, it's not.
Oh, yeah.
There's like
It's
a
right
little
here.
crop text thing.
This.
That's it.
There we go.
Because we were talking about the tropics, and this is kind of what tropical astrology.
Why it's called.
Why it's called tropical astrology. And we were like, well, is it even really the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn anymore? And we looked it up and no, it is not.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. It was named that because at the time that they were making these references, like around 2,000 years ago, that's where the sun was when they were taking the measurements. So that's how they got named. And we looked it up, and technically the Tropic of Cancer, the 23.5 degrees north latitude that the sun is the highest point where you get basically full sun. That's probably not the right technical way to say that, but where the sun will be directly overhead during that day, is the Tropic of the Taurus Gemini void. So that's a mouthful. And then the Tropic of Capricorn, which is the 23.5 degree south latitude tropic, is at this point in time the Tropic of the Scorpio Ophiuchus blend. So, there you go, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, they should be probably called something else altogether, not tied to a constellation, because those will continue to
Yeah.
precess ad infinitum. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of not really correct to name them that like that. So we probably need to sit down and think about calling them something else, but we will.
Yes, we will. We will rename everything.
Well, they do say, I did write down in here in some of my notes that the tropic, the 23.5 degree north latitude tropic could be called the northern tropic,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one could be called the southern tropic.
Which would make sense because then it honors both the hemispheres and doesn't negate one's season.
Right. And also doesn't get stuck in a constellation as a measure of time or timeline. Catholic Church.
Yeah, definitely.
So those two tropics, those are significant because that's what denotes the alignment with the sun is lining up with those tropics. For the solstices, like that's the farthest alignment that the sun will be directly overhead, kind of thing. Once you get north of that, you're moving either closer to the Arctic Circle or the Antarctic Circle, and you have the sun rays come at a different angle, so you get different daylight. Like you'll have the Arctic midnight or whatever they call it, where you have 24 hours of darkness, that kind of thing. So you start getting into some weird sunlight things the closer to the top and the bottom of, well, quote unquote, the top and the bottom of the sphere at the pole, at either pole. But the Tropic of, what did we say it was? The Taurus Gemini void
is kind of the Tropic of Orion at this point. Like,
yeah, it really is. It's the June solstice. So you can see the line with the big yellow sun, the graphic with the big yellow sun. You can see how those lines cross through, and it's like, yeah, it touches the Tropic of, we'll just say Cancer because that's what's on this, and it also touches the Tropic of Capricorn on the other side. So that's kind of how the alignment goes. And as the Earth rotates through a year around the sun, because of the 23.5 degree angle for the equinoxes, the equator is where the line goes through. So it's lined up exactly with the equator. So the time, 4:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is the time that the sun actually makes that alignment with the Tropic of quote unquote Cancer. So it's something that's very measurable as far as alignments go. And it is not a fixed star alignment, not like that kind of alignment. So it is kind of a complex topic to talk about. You do have to sort of understand things from a looking at it off the planet kind of perspective.
Which is what we do.
So the northern tropic, longest amount of daylight hours, and then the southern tropic on the solstice will have the shortest amount of daylight hours. That's the significance. And metaphysically, what would you say metaphysically as far as energetic? Because the equinox is a very different energetic, but the solstice is more like, for us in the north, it's the peak of the light. And it's like the end of the pendulum swing energetically before it starts to swing back. And the same on the other side, it's just their maximum amount of darkness. So it's like polarity
activation of the light body versus integration of the shadow. Not versus, we'll say together.
Yeah, different
at
dynamic.
The end of the scale.
Yeah. So the northern hemisphere will experience it different than the southern.
Which is how even at solstice we hold kind of equinox energy between the two hemispheres, because one is focusing more on the light and the other is focusing more on the shadow. So we're equilibrizing The light and shadow.
Yeah. It feels like the solstices feel like, well, I don't want to say more work. It's just it's kind of energetically different feeling.
It's more intense because you're meant to be on an
You're in a
extreme of the
polarity,
spectrum.
yeah.
Rather than an equinox where it's like just chill and be balanced. I mean, we're two Libras, so that's probably an easy task for us. Other people may experience it a little bit differently, but I find that to be true. Solstices are a lot more intense than equinoxes for me personally.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. All right. What do we want to look at? Anything else for the solstice? Do we want to look at the chart for the solstice?
Sure. Okay.
All right, bringing those up now. This is just fun to kind of see at the time of the actual alignment with this parallel 23.5 degrees, the sun aligning with it, to see what was going on. Can we zoom in on where the sun was? It's just off the Polaris alignment. I'm sorry, this is really blurry.
Yeah.
Not great.
So the sun's
right there.
It's like actually right
I
here.
think Venus was interesting. She's at Gamma Monocero. So we are definitely doing some timeline jumping. I think Mercury is at, what is that, 13 Monoceros?
You want to just look here?
I can look here and yes. Is this June? Yes. Yeah, Mercury is a Monocero star. What else? South node leaving alignment with Algorab in Virgo, like in Algorab's in Corvus, but South node is in Virgo right now. Oh, the moon. Moon was aligned.
Ooh, and Scorpius. Well, maybe.
Okay, you guys, this one's juicy. The moon was aligned. This is the star, right? This is the star I used to pinpoint where super galactic center is, because it doesn't have it on my software, but it's Razal Gethi in Hercules is in alignment with super galactic center. So the moon was aligned with super galactic center at the time of, not super galactic center, the great attractor.
Oh,
the great attractor.
Okay.
Which is bigger than super galactic center. So the great attractor is in Norma constellation, or
which is
outside
interesting
of
because
Norma.
Hercules kind of gives me the same energy as Orion.
He
But
does.
just kind of, both like kind of demigod energy. They have a mission. They go through trials and tribulations.
There was so much water and moon stuff coming through leading up to this, and now it's like, oh yeah, just look at the chart for that day, and that makes sense. So some major moon recodes, lots of the water element coming through. Of course, we know Pluto's hanging out near Altair alignments and the Sag Cap Void. What else? Oh, our favorite, Neptune at Sheet.
Holy sheet.
Holy sheet. He's been there for a while, though. Mars is hanging out in alignment with Shadar in Cassiopeia and Hamal and Aries. And we got to remember, too, Uranus is cruising into an algal alignment. He's slowly making his way. He's got less than a degree, about a degree, just a little bit under, before he aligns with algal. So we are working on some major Kundalini recodes, like Kundalini priestess energy, all those serpent recodes. So no wonder we're here.
Yep. Here at Serpent Mound to get it done.
Get the job done. And then Jupiter is aligned with the Hyades today, which is lovely energy, very feminine, very pretty. I don't know. I don't use that word often to describe energy, but it is very pretty, feminine, just like frolicking in a field of daisies kind of energy.
And we're literally in a field of wildflowers, hay, and
a big bouquet of wildflowers
Uh-huh.
that we picked from
It's
the field
beautiful.
behind us.
Uh-huh.
It's perfect. So yeah, some interesting energy at the time of solstice today. Really cool stuff. So I know we don't have a live chat going for this episode, but drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know how your solstice was.
Yeah, and we can answer it on next week's episode.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Anything else for solstice?
No.
Pretty good. Pretty good with that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We will. Let's talk a little bit about the full moon.
You want to do the text first?
Yeah, let's do this one's good because
Or
it's
I
got
think we
all the
could
details.
Pull this up with the fixed stars.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Let's switch this one over so I can see. September. All right. That's it. Okay, this is the one in the Ophiuchus Sag void, mostly Sag. I mean, that's not a very big void anyway. But you can see right there, it's aligned with Polaris Australis.
Woohoo!
Yeah, so that's our southern pole star. So no wonder it's been intense. It's like we're getting all the North Pole things, and the moon's like, hey, let's integrate this over here too. Let's clear lunar matrix things from both poles. Because the sun is on the opposite side. The sun is almost like holding the higher octave. It's like, and allowing the moon to do transmutation work at the other end. If you are working on your inner work. So this feels like a very significant planetary moon as well, like doing some serious planetary grid work upgrades in a big way.
Sun moon matrix.
Yeah, what was the thing I found? Like going from a lunar consciousness to a solar consciousness, like that came up in one of my searches. So like lunar transfiguration work, like just clearing out the lunar matrix. And I have chatted with several people this week who are like, there's such a major karma reset coming in, not just because of this full moon, but because of what the South Node is getting ready to align through, which we'll talk about that more on the transit episode next week. But all the Syrian alignments are getting ready to happen in July. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on until about September to September. Like it's just we're gonna be rocking and rolling this summer. This moon, I feel like, is the second big, well, I mean, the solstice is big and the Polaris alignment is big, but I think the kickoff was the Mercury conjunct Sun at Alnitak. That middle belt star was the beginning of the recodes.
That was super intense.
It was very uncomfortable. So this is another one, is like, let's run those soul codes straight through the earth grids, blast them out the other side so it's running free and clear. And we all know Pluto's down here at Altair. Like, yes, let's clear out the astrals and any yucky remote viewing stuff, like negative timeline remote viewing. Doing that recode. The US is in its Pluto return. So the US is definitely doing a whole lot of work on that. And then the rest of this isn't too much different than the day before. But we can look at the aspects to see what the focus is. So obviously a full moon is always opposite the sun. So sun at Polaris, moon at the southern pole star, Polaris Australis. Kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, still in orb. That's a very large orb to Venus at Epsilon Monoceros, but she's still transiting through Monoceros alignments, was basically what I wanted to show with that. So Still timeline jumping with the divine
Mhm.
feminine. Like major timeline jumps. And then opposite a large orb to Mercury in Gemini. And Alhina is in Gemini. I don't know why I didn't put that on there. But that's one of the foot stars in Gemini. And then favorite square Neptune aligned with sheet.
Mhm.
So Pegasus recodes, Pisces spiritual stuff recodes, and then semi-sextile Pluto. So Pluto and Neptune are pulling their weight in
Mhm.
this, doing some galactic DNA recodes, astral traveling capacities activate. Albiro is a part of Cygnus, Time Matrix Guardians activate. Very cool stuff, you guys.
Mhm.
Very cool stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And we have a full detailed analysis in the daily planner. If you haven't already gotten it, check it out. There's lots of good info there.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that kind of covers it. Let's see if the IG group chat has any questions.
It doesn't look like any have
Everybody-
come through.
That's okay. If there's any in the
Chef, you have any questions?
Any questions? Any thoughts on the vibes?
The vibes are immaculate.
Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss.
I mean, for me personally, I know there's like an energy with every summer solstice of like reconciliation, or at least making amends, kind of like putting that behind you in order to like step forward into this like new energy.
That's a great way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
It is a really great way to put it.
Just so it like picks up. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no questions. I'm just here for the vibes.
Just vibing. We all just vibing.
Uh-huh.
For sure.
And you
Get
look
to-
like a ball of sun.
You
Just
are
all yellow.
sunshine.
All yellow. Yeah. It's good.
Thanks.
You got all the Hawaii energy here today,
Uh-huh.
apparently. All that
Yep.
12D inner Earth Gate energy
That's
right
right.
here.
I got sunshine.
In a bag.
Yeah, no questions off the top of my head. It's good to be here with the True Sky crew.
The fun is only beginning.
That's right. Yep.
Tomorrow is like go day.
Uh-huh.
We going to do some stuff.
Mhm.
So yeah, there will be more meetups for sure. Like wherever we feel called, we will do these meetups. Because the energy is definitely palpable. Like
Yeah.
you get multiple people together in a room and that have never met before, and their energy fields sort of exchange information, and they're like, "Oh, I need some of these codes. You can have some of those codes," and then we
Mhm.
all go hang out outdoors and run codes and clear the land and do all kinds of things, and it's just amazing.
It is.
Hi there, we have our mascot.
We have
here.
our little bodyguard here too, our protector.
Run on.
All right.
I feel like that's about covered it, unless you guys have anything else you would like to talk about.
I don't think so. That's good. I feel like, yeah, like an hour episode. We did it.
We did it. 2 Libras did it. Amazing.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us on the replay. We are your hosts, Sachi and Janine. You can find me at Sachi the Seer on Instagram, YouTube, X, and at SachiTheSeer.com, which is also where you can get all the True Sky Crew goodies. I'm gonna say my books are closed. Let me just put it that way. I have too many bookings right now that I need to focus on. That yeah, just don't. They're closed.
They're closed. Awesome. And I'm Janine. I'm at Inner Sky Alchemy. You can find me on Instagram and anywhere you can find the True Sky Crew, which is Instagram and YouTube right now.
Mhm.
We are going to start working on a website
Woo.
soon and a shop on that
Mhm.
website. So we'll keep you posted on that. That's kind of where my energy goes. My books are closed. And that's it for me.
Yeah. And our next episode will be in 1 week. So next week on June 27th here on YouTube, and we will be discussing July transits.
And those are going to be juicy, you guys.
Yes, they are.
Holy moly.
Mm-hmm. And until then, keep your feet on the ground and your eyes to the skies.
'Cause the true sky don't lie. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
That was awesome at the end.